Hello and welcome to this video on sake rice. All rice used for sake is milled or polished. This removes protein and other components which are not saccharides. This is a necessary step in the production of sake. The question is why? Let's begin with the rice grain. It has 5 main parts: the chaff, bran residue, cereal germ, and endosperm. The chaff is a protective layer that needs to be removed. Doing so produces standard brown table rice. The bran layer contains considerable amounts of vitamins, minerals, oils, fatty acids, fibers, starch, and proteins. At this stage, the grain is at 70 to 75% starch content. This starch is made from 2 components, amylose and amylopectin. There is a 7 to 8% protein and 2% lipid composition. Once the bran is removed, the rice is reduced to the bran residue and cereal germ. This is 90 to 93% starch. This is the rice used for cooking. Sake rice needs to be processed further. Sake rice and the sake produced is graded as a percentage of the table rice grain. These are known as 90 to 70%, which is futsushu, 70 to 60%, which is known as junmai-shu or honjozu-shu, 60 to 50%, which is known as junmai-ginjo-shu or ginjo-shu, and 50% or less of the original grain is known as junmai daiginjo-shu or daiginjo-shu. The junmai suffix indicates that no alcohol has been added during the process of fermentation and brewing. Milling is arguably the first step the average homebrewer has control over. On an industrial scale, the brewery has control over the exposure of the grain during growth and development at the farm in many cases. For the home brewer, this means the quality and level of sake produced begins with milling. The leading cause of sake quality is purity of the saccharides and the type and quantity of proteins present in the fermentation. It is for this reason that so much of the original grain is milled away. Milling rice produces the following approximation of content, sourced from Bossale and Vasile-Demy 2015. The relative composition of carbohydrates increases significantly after milling. As can be expected, the bran and hull have almost no carbohydrates. The other important piece of information here is the significant amount of fat and protein in the bran. As far as minerals go, the bran and rough rice grain have the most significant concentrations. As can be seen, by removing mass and the outer part of the grain, calcium and B group vitamins are reduced. This should be beneficial to the brewing purposes, as demonstrated in other videos. This has a series of secondary effects, particularly water and oil absorption. By reducing mass and partially drying the rice, it absorbs water more. There is an ongoing concern in brewing that adding water to the grain can cause it to crack if it is done too early or at too significant a difference. Therefore, many breweries choose to expose their grain to a humid environment for many weeks and allow the grains which are at that stage dry to absorb moisture from the environment and atmosphere. As can be seen here, if the process of milling the rice is exaggerated, the effects observed in the first graph would explain how the difference in sake quality is produced. This is demonstrated by a simple log transformation of the axes. More saccharides and less protein means fewer off-taste compounds and complications in the brewing process, therefore a cleaner, better taste. This is the same reason that the treatment used for each grade of sake is different, and it makes the flavor profile unique to each sake classification. The polishing process and the grades described at the beginning produce different types of sake, and the composition can be seen here. As a side note, the fiber line follows the same course as the fat content line does. However, the line size makes it impossible to see. The qualities given are table sake that has almost no milling requirements. Then there is the futsushu, which is 90 to 70%, the junmai-shu, which is 70 to 60%, junmai-ginjo-shu, which is 60 to 50%, and junmai-daiginjo-shu, which is 50% or less of the original grain. Thank you for watching this video. Please post any comments, questions, or suggestions you may have below.